Today, we're taking a close look at the multi-generational workplace.
Right, a space that gets talked about a lot, often with these big buzzwords like clash or gap.
Exactly. So we've gone through the sources you sent us, tried to remove some of that noise, and really focused in on the actionable strategies for leaders. I mean, you know the feeling. You're watching talent, maybe even big opportunities, just slip away because your
Which
team.
is made up of maybe 4 distinct generations.
Yeah, and they just aren't speaking the same professional language. So our mission today is to cut through some of that, that inevitable friction.
And deliver insights.
Yes, insights that let you leverage all these diverse perspectives, supercharge your collaboration, and really turn that generational diversity into a strategic advantage.
Exactly. We're trying to move past the stereotypes today. Our analysis is all about the structural mechanics, you could say, of generational integration.
The nuts and bolts.
The nuts and bolts. We want to define the precise steps that leaders can take, maybe even immediately, to foster a more productive, more harmonious environment.
By actually valuing every perspective.
We're genuinely valuing every perspective, yeah.
Yeah.
Regardless of age or tenure.
Okay, so let's unpack that core tension. We all know the shorthand, right?
Yeah.
The okay boomer versus Gen Z are lazy kind of stereotypes that fly around, but you're saying these are just symptoms.
They're just surface conflicts. They point to much deeper structural misalignments. The sources are pretty clear about where the true fault lines are.
And what are they?
Well, the friction isn't just attitude. It's about fundamentally different career paradigms.
Okay.
The biggest divergence is around the concept of career progression on company loyalty.
Right.
Historically, the path was seen as this stable, vertical ladder. Loyalty was measured in decades.
The classic corporate ladder.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And progression was tied, almost solely to tenure and seniority.
But that's not the model anymore.
Not for the younger generations, no.
Yep.
For them, that ladder's been replaced by what you might call a jungle gym.
A jumbo gym.
Yeah, or a series of specialized project-based gigs. Loyalty shifts from loyalty to the company.
To loyalty to project or the skill.
Exactly, to the craft.
Yeah.
So a leader might see someone who changes jobs every 2 years as disloyal.
But that employee just sees themselves as being strategic.
Right. They're collecting diverse skills to stay relevant. And this misalignment, especially in something like a performance review, is a huge source of misunderstanding.
And I have to imagine that structural difference, how we even define a good career, spills over into daily life. Expectations about time, availability.
It absolutely does. And that leads to the second major fault line, which is the evolving definition of work-life balance and company culture.
Talk about that.
Well, think about a generation that entered the workforce before smartphones. For them, being reachable 24/7 was a sign of dedication.
It was commitment.
Yes, so they might see setting firm boundaries as a lack of that commitment.
Whereas younger employees.
Younger employees who grew up online are much more rigorous about setting those boundaries. It's about mental health. For them, the ideal isn't work-life balance, it's work-life integration.
And that's where the friction happens.
That's it. Because these aren't just preferences, they're deeply held cultural assumptions about what it means to be a professional. If you expect a Slack response at 8 p.m. and your junior staff doesn't even have notifications on,
You've got immediate unspoken friction.
you got it.
That is a perfect pivot point. Let's move from those, high-level culture clashes to the practical day-to-day stuff, communication.
This is where productivity can really hit a wall.
So when we talk about decoding communication styles, what did the material really flag as the big divergences?
Okay, the biggest one is the preferred medium. I mean, this is the battle of the inbox versus the chat channel.
Email versus Slack.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah.
The sources detail how formal, structured email is seen by some as the only truly professional record-keeping method.
But for others.
For others, using email for a quick decision is a major organizational drag. They just want the speed and efficiency of a platform like Teams or Slack.
And that changes the whole tone, doesn't it? A formal email can feel really stiff, maybe even passive-aggressive, to someone who's used to a 5-word Slack message.
It's all about perceived intent. The medium distorts the message. And that leads right into the second big communication gap, feedback.
Okay.
There's a huge gap between people who grew up professionally with let's call it a transactional feedback model.
It's the annual review.
The annual review, yeah.
Yeah.
Infrequent, direct, often only delivered when there was a problem.
Versus
Those who need continuous, supportive, and frequent feedback. They want immediate recognition, coaching in the moment.
So how does a leader manage both of those expectations?
Well, the solution isn't to just pick one style. It's to be really explicit about the type of feedback you're giving.
So frame it.
Frame it perfectly. If it's a formal annual review, you say that. If you're giving a quick course correction to a digital native, it has to be delivered fast and framed as coaching, not as a critique. That's how you get buy-in.
And underpinning all of this is the base layer of digital fluency?
Absolutely. You
Okay.
cannot overstate the impact of tech savviness on collaboration when a new tool gets implemented.
A new CRM, a project management board.
Anything. If one segment of the team resists it or, just lacks the training, it doesn't just slow them down, it drags the entire team's efficiency down with them.
And that creates resentment.
A lot of it. Because
Wow.
the more digitally fluent members end up spending their time bridging that technical divide instead of doing their own work.
Okay, this is where it gets really interesting for me. We've diagnosed the pain points, but now let's talk about innovative strategies, things that can actually reset these dynamics.
Right.
The sources talked a lot about something called reverse mentorship. How does that actually work?
Reverse mentorship is it's a formalized structure. It acknowledges a simple reality. Institutional knowledge flows down, but technical and market fluency often flows up.
So what does it look like in practice?
It's a structured program. Junior employees, usually digital natives, are officially tasked with mentoring senior leaders,
On specific topics.
specifically on emerging tech, digital platforms, social media strategy, things like that. And the structure is vital. This isn't just a casual chat. The junior mentor prepares lessons, they set agendas.
They're treated as the expert.
They're the designated expert in that area, yes.
So it's about more than just learning how to use Instagram. It gives that junior employee immediate status and visibility they wouldn't get for years.
That's the real power, isn't it? It resets the hierarchy, at least for a moment. It fundamentally changes the power dynamic.
And the benefits are mutual.
Oh, they're vast. Senior leaders get immediately useful knowledge. They become more adaptable. But critically, it creates psychological safety for the junior mentor.
How so?
They're being respected for their knowledge, which encourages them to voice other innovative ideas later. It builds a more trusting environment overall. It's the most deliberate way to show that value isn't just tied to age or a title.
I love that. It's such a concrete strategy. Okay, so now let's broaden out. Let's talk about the actionable strategies leaders can implement today, even without a full-scale reverse mentorship program.
The material gave 3 really detailed areas for action.
What's the first one?
First, leaders have to implement cross-generational projects that are specifically designed to force a shared understanding.
So not just generic tasks.
No. They should be focused on areas that require the combined strengths of different groups.
Like what? Give me an example.
Like a project to digitize company archives or overhauling an outdated process. The older generation provides the context, the institutional memory,
And the younger generation provides the technical
the
execution.
technical skill, and the speed. By forcing that interdependency on a tangible goal, they naturally discover the value in each other's working styles.
So it's not just about mixing ages on a team, it's about assigning roles that force them to rely on each other's unique generational strengths.
Precisely. The second strategy hits the learning gap. Professional development programs have to be tailored.
One size doesn't fit all.
Not at all. The sources show that many older generations prefer traditional, structured, expert-led training.
The classic workshop model.
Right. It's a transfer of defined knowledge. Meanwhile, millennials and Gen Z often prefer highly personalized, modular learning that they can access just in time.
So online, on demand.
Peer-to-peer knowledge sharing, multimedia formats, exactly. So a good leader needs to offer both. Make sure that required software course is available as a workshop and as a series of short online micro lessons.
That makes so much sense. Okay, so what's the third strategy? This has to be about the environment, right?
It is, and it's maybe the most crucial one. You have to establish open dialogue through what you could call generational norm setting workshops. Instead of just assuming preferences, leadership creates a safe space where teams explicitly discuss and agree on protocols.
Like what? What kind of protocols?
For instance, the team might decide together. If a request is urgent and it's outside of working hours, the protocol is a text message. Everything else is Slack or email, and the expected response time is 24 hours.
So it takes the guesswork out of it.
It shifts the conversation from criticizing someone's competence, why didn't you answer my email, to simply adhering to an agreed-upon preference.
We agreed it needs to be a text after 5 p.m.
Exactly. You proactively manage expectations, and you stop stylistic differences from becoming personal friction.
So when we pull this all together, what does it all mean? We started with friction over things like loyalty and ended with these really structural solutions like reverse mentorship.
Right.
The ultimate goal here seems to be moving beyond just accommodating differences to actually mastering generational integration.
And if we connect that to the bigger picture, it means we have to stop looking at the generational mix as, an HR compliance checklist.
Yeah. And start seeing it as a...
Like, as a critical strategic advantage.
Yeah.
Companies that master this are more resilient. They have a wider lens on consumer behavior, on technology.
It makes them more innovative.
Absolutely. When you successfully blend institutional wisdom with digital agility, you get a capacity for innovation that homogeneous organizations just can't replicate.
So a final thought then for the listener.
The final thought for you to consider is this. We've talked about these big organizational strategies, but how can you, in your immediate sphere of influence, move past just tolerating different work habits?
Go beyond tolerance.
Go beyond it. How can you actively restructure your team's assignments so that every unique contribution, whether it's institutional context or technical execution, is strategically required for success? That shift from tolerance to strategic necessity, that's what truly defines successful modern leadership.